200 miles from the nearest coastline, a steel city rises 30 stories out of the water. It weighs 50 million tons. It never sleeps. And somewhere inside it right now, a guy in oil-stained coveralls is playing ping pong. There are roughly 1,470 offshore oil rigs operating around the world at any given moment, and each one is a self-contained civilization. From 100 to 200 people crammed onto a platform the size of a football field, surrounded by nothing but open ocean in every direction. They work 12-hour shifts. They do this for 14, 21, sometimes 28 straight days before a helicopter carries them back to shore. No bars, no restaurants, no weekends, no leaving, and absolutely no alcohol, not a drop. It is a zero-tolerance policy across the entire industry, and getting caught means getting fired on the spot and flown home that same day. So what do these people actually do when the shift ends and they've got 12 hours to kill on a metal island? That's what we're getting into today. The gym that might save your life, the food that rivals some restaurants on land, the movie nights, the fishing, and the slow, quiet ways people keep their sanity hundreds of miles from anyone they love. This is the hidden social world of offshore oil rigs. The first thing to understand is the food situation, because it is not what most people expect. Oil rig galleys operate around the clock. Dedicated catering crews work their own 12-hour shifts, and meals are served every 6 hours, 4 full meals a day. Breakfast might include made-to-order omelets, bacon, sausage, fresh fruit, and pancakes. Dinner rotations cycle through everything from General Tso's chicken to barbecue ribs to steak night. Holidays get special treatment. Thanksgiving offshore means turkey, ham, all the fixings, and a full dessert spread laid out by galley cooks who take genuine pride in the work. One cook on a North Sea gas platform described how crew members would bring him raw bacon to bait their fishing hooks, and the deep freeze would fill up so fast with their catches that the fish had to go on the menu just to make room for incoming supply shipments. The reason the food is this good is not generosity, it's strategy. When there is no alcohol, no nightlife, no freedom to go anywhere, food becomes the single most important morale tool available. Companies know this. A well-fed crew is a safer crew, and on a platform handling explosive gases and pressures that could level a city block, morale is not optional. After a meal, the rec room is where most of the social life happens. Modern rigs vary wildly in what they offer. Some feel like a cramped dorm hallway with a TV bolted to the wall. Others are closer to a modest cruise ship. The better-equipped platforms feature full gymnasiums, cinema rooms, saunas, game rooms with pool tables and table tennis, and dedicated internet cafes. One Norwegian sector flotel called the Safe Scandinavia, which attaches to rigs as a floating hotel, houses up to 583 people and includes a cinema, a sauna, social lounges, and a professionally equipped gym spanning 1,800 square feet. Ping pong is enormously popular across the industry, probably because you can play a quick game in a tight space and it requires zero setup. Pool tables are common too, though on a floating platform they provide their own entertainment. Workers have described placing bets on how long it takes the ocean's sway to sink every ball without anyone touching a cue. The gym, though, is more than recreation. Offshore fire teams are required to maintain a high level of physical fitness, and in the UK sector, every worker must pass a medical examination that includes body mass index checks, blood pressure screening, and lung function tests before they are cleared to board a helicopter. Good fitness on a rig isn't vanity. It can literally determine survival rates in an emergency evacuation. So the gym stays busy. Workers bring training programs written by coaches on shore and track their progress through connected fitness apps, turning their hitch into a structured training block. Some workers come home from a 2-week rotation in better shape than when they left. Then there's the question of connectivity. Before the internet era, offshore workers could call home once a week for 6 minutes.
They would stand in line with phone cards, waiting for a red light to signal their turn. Today, most platforms offer satellite Wi-Fi, but the quality is often poor. Bandwidth is limited, video calls can stutter and drop, and if one person starts downloading a large file, the entire system slows to a crawl. Mobile phones are banned outside the living quarters because the risk of a stray electronic signal igniting flammable gas is too real. So communication with family happens in small windows, usually after a shift, hunched over a tablet in a shared cabin. It's better than the phone card era, but it is far from seamless, and for many workers, it is the hardest part of the job. If you're enjoying this, go ahead and drop a like. It genuinely helps the channel. The mental health dimension of rig life is something the industry has been slow to acknowledge. Research suggests that roughly 1 in 5 oil and gas workers experiences some form of psychological disorder, including anxiety and depression. A study of North Sea rotations found that only about 25% of offshore workers reported being satisfied with their work-life balance. The culture has historically been tough and male-dominated, and one former derrickman compared the reluctance to seek help to what he saw in the military, where asking for support is perceived as weakness. Divorce rates in some offshore departments run notably high. Isolation doesn't just mean missing birthdays and school plays. It means that when a problem starts at home, there is no way to walk through the door and deal with it. Workers are stuck processing it from a bunk bed, surrounded by the constant hum of machinery, 200 miles from the conversation that needs to happen. This is exactly why the social bonds on a rig matter so much. Veteran workers describe the crew as a second family. One rig superintendent put it simply: the first day, everyone is a stranger, but by the end of the second hitch, crews are going fishing together on their weeks off. Their kids know each other. They're showing up to each other's barbecues. The shared intensity of the work, the 12-hour days, the danger, the isolation, compresses relationships in a way that few other jobs can replicate. And then there is actual fishing. Oil platforms are, unintentionally, some of the most productive artificial reefs on the planet. The massive underwater structure of a rig's jacket, the steel framework that descends hundreds of feet to the ocean floor, attracts an extraordinary ecosystem. Baitfish shelter in the steel lattice, which draws predators, which draws bigger predators. Amberjack, cobia, red snapper, yellowfin tuna, even blue marlin congregate around these structures. The Gulf of Mexico alone has thousands of platforms, and Congress passed laws in 1984 allowing decommissioned rigs to be converted into permanent reefs. Workers on some platforms fish right off the side during their downtime, dropping lines into waters teeming with life that would not exist without the rig beneath their feet. It is a strange irony. A machine built to extract fossil fuels from the earth becomes a thriving marine habitat. The thing that drills into the ocean floor ends up giving something back to it. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing. There is a lot more like this coming. Here is what sticks with me about all of this. The fun on an oil rig is not glamorous. It is ping pong in a fluorescent lit room. It is a second helping of cobbler because the galley cook nailed it tonight. It is a shaky video call with a kid who just lost a tooth. It is dropping a fishing line off the edge of a steel platform into water so deep the bottom is invisible, knowing that in 10 hours the alarm goes off and the whole cycle starts again. The roughly 1,470 rigs operating worldwide right now are staffed by people who chose a life most of us would not last a week in. They work half the year in one of the most dangerous occupations on Earth, earning salaries that range from about $50,000 for an entry-level roustabout to over $200,000 for a senior drilling engineer. They do it without a single drink, without reliable wireless internet, without the ability to leave. And somehow, in the cracks between 12-hour shifts and safety briefings and the endless mechanical noise of extraction, they find ways to laugh, to compete, to connect, and to feel human. That is not just fun. That is resilience.